Hello and welcome to another What Sold on eBay video. We're going to go over some of the items we sold in our eBay store, and you definitely want to stay tuned to the very end. We're going to have a special deep dive on Worth Point. If you're new to the channel, definitely go down there, click the subscribe button, and click the like button anytime during this video. That helps to feed the hungry algorithm. So let's get right into it. First up, we have this microphone set, this condenser microphone from AKG. Now, this is a kind of an older set of microphones here, and we'll take a quick look at them right here. These were tested with using batteries and just make sure they turned on with the lights. Some of these are going to be very hard to test, especially if you find these with the three-prong holes. You'll need a special uh, cord for these. I forget exactly what the cord is called. It's very specific to audio, and usually you can plug this into another receiver or something. If you're doing electronics or if you're a full-time reseller, it might be good to invest in these cords and something that you can test this kind of stuff in. We don't have that at the moment, but we will be getting something like that very soon. But this was tested to just the battery compartment and everything. Now, some of these older microphones, they do fall apart with the foam, and we showed a photo of the internal mechanisms here, as we can see where the battery compartment is. Inside here, there's some foam, and so just check. You can take these apart for the most part. Usually they unscrew, and you can see that a lot of the foam stuff actually falls apart. These are very easy to look up. Also, all you need to do is do AKG C1000S, and a lot of this stuff is easy to look up. Some of these condenser microphones go for hundreds of dollars, so if you ever see these out in the field, they're easy to look up and easy to research. The harder part is going to be testing them out to make sure they work. Over the years of me doing this, I've only come across one microphone that didn't work. So if you're just going to sell these without testing them, just make sure that you disclose that in your description or your condition, saying that this hasn't been tested or untested or something like that. Though for the most part, sometimes you'll get some returns on some of these electronics because of just all various types of reasons that you can't kind of test on. So just be warned that when you start to deal with electronics, that some of the stuff can be returned. And so just try to describe it as best as you can and test it as best as you can. Next up, we have this Revell 1/48 scale. This is a PBYOA-10A. I know, Catalina. This is a Revell model. For those who don't know, this is a model kit. Basically, it's a plastic kind of kit you glue together and paint. Me and my dad used to be into this kind of stuff a long time ago. As a matter of fact, my dad is a really amazing model maker. That's how I got into art to begin with. So just look out for this stuff. Make sure it's got plastic and it's got the decals and everything like that if you're ever going to sell these loose. This one wasn't sealed, so I had to check it to make sure everything was there. A good sign is if you see it in the plastic and you see the decals, which are these sticker things you just put in water. And so if you ever see some of this stuff, definitely look it up. There's some crazy models that go for hundreds of dollars out there. For the most part, model kits, a pro tip is the car ones usually aren't really expensive, though there are some car ones that actually go for a lot of money, some of the vintage ones. But for the most part, airplane model kits are worth a lot more than tanks or cars. So it would be usually like cars, tanks, planes is usually there's a lot more planes that are worth money than there's a lot car. They produce a ton of car models, and so just look them up. They're super easy to look up. You'll look up Revell, and then you'll search by this this particular aircraft has a crazy call sign number, so just or model number, I should say. 1/48 scale is a pretty good size. So you see it down there. It says 1/48. The lower that number in airplanes, usually the more expensive it's going to be. So if you can find like a 1/24 airplane, it's going to be huge, and usually they demand pretty good money. And that's not always the case. You should look these up on a case-by-case basis. But the lower the scale model, the bigger, or the lower the scale number, the higher or the bigger it's going to be. So 1/48 scale is actually pretty standard for aircraft models. 1/72 scale is another smaller type of thing. There's usually a lot of 1/72 scale. 1/24 scale is pretty hard to find in airplanes, and 1/12 scale is really, really hard to find in airplanes because they're usually pretty huge. So That's just a pro tip on those, is to search by, model number and exactly the company. Revell's, I think Revell's still making stuff, but Revell is a very old school company. There's also Testers and Monogram, and a lot of those go back to the 50s and the 60s. And a kind of a little side tip is, some of the Star Wars models and the Star Wars stuff used in the movies were basically tons of just model kits just glued together, tanks and all kinds of stuff. So that was actually a really cool, fun kind of history kind of thing to go to know. Next up, we have this Snow White Be Same clutch wallet here, and we could see here this was brand new in the tags, had the tags and everything. Basically like a wallet. Did I show a photo of it? Yeah, okay, good. I always show a photo of opening of the wallet and looking inside if I can. Very old school. It's not old, but it's got the old vintage look onto it. We sold this for $19.99. You could find this all day long at garage sales and Goodwills and thrift stores and things like that. So Disney sells very well, especially licensed Disney. Just make sure it's licensed. You'll be able to look inside these kind of things, and if you see the C in the Disney, that usually means it's copyrighted, it's licensed. There is a lot of reproduction, kind of bootleg Disney stuff out there. Not too much, but it is out there, so just be warned to, of course, like I always say, just look everything up. These are selling for anywhere between, $12 to $25. So if you can find this stuff for $1 or less, it's definitely a pickup. Next up, we have this San Francisco Fine Arts Frank Lloyd Wright scarf. And as you can see here, is what it looks like. He's a very well-known architect. This was from 1984. This was sold in the San Francisco Fine Arts Museum back in those days. If you've never heard of Frank Lloyd Wright, he's a very famous, what do you call it, designer. I just totally lost my train of thought here. But anyways, if you look at architect, excuse me, been a long weekend. You could see, like, if you go to Frank Lloyd Wright and you search by solds, there's so many crazy things that he's done that's worth tons of money. He's done so many different kind of, like the Lego set is something you should look out for. There's some Lego sets that go for crazy money sealed, and I'll show you real quick. But Frank Lloyd Wright, if you ever find anything, especially stuff in the 80s, it goes for crazy, crazy money. Look at this, $535 for this Robbie house. And he did a bunch of these architecture Lego pieces. So this is a really, really pro tip. Bolo for sure. Anything Frank Lloyd Wright is worth looking into if you ever come across it. There's some books that are worth good money. There's some stationery, like a lot of stuff that is worth tons of money. So definitely look out for that. Next up, we have these Finsbury men's leather ankle boots, and so these sold for $150. This is another Bolo brand you probably haven't heard of, or maybe you have. I've never heard of this brand, but Finsbury, definitely look out for this. These things are well made. They do sell for pretty good money, so you definitely want to look out for these. And like I've said, with shoes, just make sure, check it out. Make sure the soles are okay. This one's kind of beat up, as you can see here, but for the most part, people want to see what the covers look like, the uppers and the sides and everything like that. Usually the soles on the bottom, unless they have holes in them, people usually can also purchase things to like redo this kind of stuff and fix this stuff. So you definitely want to just do your research on these shoes and any kind of leather boots. Usually leather boots are usually a surefire sale, especially if you can find them cheap enough. And so definitely keep a lookout for that. Next up, we have this Kid Robot Venom figure. We've talked about Kid Robot stuff in the past in many videos. Basically, they're vinyl designer toys. Keep a lookout for those. They are out there, and you can make some pretty good money on Kid Robot stuff. Not everything Kid Robot's worth money. That's the logo, what it looks like, Kid Robot. There's also a logo of a robot. I don't even think they have this on this. And Frank Kozek is another artist you should look into. You see that Kozek logo down there, and we'll take another kind of weird deep look into this. Frank Kozek, he's another artist you should probably be aware of. He does a bunch of vinyl figures, as you can see here. Let's go see if like the really crazy, see what his top selling stuff. He does a lot of stuff for Kid Robot. I think he's a creative director of Kid Robot. I met him a couple times. I'm not gonna go there. Let's see here. Yeah, as you can see here, there's tons of stuff for Frank Kozek that's worth tons of money. and definitely look out for some of his original posters and stuff like that. He actually started out doing these posters and stuff, so definitely look out for his posters. I totally forgot he used to do posters. Next up, we have this Puma Fenty collaboration with Rihanna. These shoes sold for $93.74, and like I said, just look out for Puma Fendi anything. Fenty anything goes for pretty good money. There's actually a lot of stuff that for Fenty that doesn't go for good money, but just look up everything on a case by case basis. And we're gonna take a deep dive with Worth Point with Fenty. There's not a lot to show you, but as you can see here, there's some stuff that these shoes that were signed and stuff. So definitely keep an eye out for Fenty collaborations. I think there's like I think they worked with Vans and stuff like that. Vans actually works with everyone, and so definitely keep an eye out for that. I hope you enjoyed this video. Definitely go down there, click the like button, leave a comment, say hello. Definitely feed the hungry algorithm, and I really appreciate everyone who tunes in. If you're not subscribed, go down there, click the subscribe button, and we'll see you next time.